Well, have you ever imagined a situation where you are invited as a guest, then you walk in, and by the end of the day, come out the one carrying all the talking points or all the bragging rights? Remember, you were invited as a guest. I'm talking about the Kenyan futsal team that were invited as guests in the 4th edition of the Asian Futsal Cup. Kenya invited as guests in Colombo, Sri Lanka. They went in as guests, took on the first team, which was Sri Lanka. They beat them by 7-1. Then they took on Bangladesh in their next game. They beat them 8-3. Then they took on Pakistan, beat them 7-1. Qualified for the final and took on India. They hammered India by 8-3. What a way. And remember, they were invited as guests. We are talking about the victorious Kenyan futsal team that was in Sri Lanka between the 17th and 20th of May. Back in the country, they have all the bragging rights, the futsal trophies here. And of course, they also have with them a plaque. And this is the 4th Asian Futsal Cup, official dates. Then it's Token of Love, organized by the Asian Futsal Federation. Congratulations to the team that is here with us in studio, and what a way, this is, what a way that this is coming out. It is a token of love. The Asian futsal, the futsal team that represented the country. They are all footballers, by the way, by their rights. Represented, various clubs, Mathare, Tusker, Mathare, Tusker, not forgetting Posta Rangers, even the national team, senior and even the under-23 Harambee Stars. So you can imagine the connection between futsal and football. They are here, they will let us know. Congratulations to the team. Let's introduce first to my right, a man who needs no introduction in the Kenyan football scene. He's a man who very passionately came up with this futsal idea. He's always been up there, talks about it passionately, and will tell you why the likes of Lamal, playing out for Barcelona, are getting it right. We will engage him to just find out. But my first question to him was, James, you are invited as a guest, but you end up, not respecting anyone. Apan tambua, kwa nini?
Firstly, I'm happy you called me back.
Karibu.
It's been a long while.
Yes.
Yeah, we are very grateful. The Asian guys invited us. It is the first ever futsal tournament that Kenya has played in. And it was an eye-opener for us. When we went to Sri Lanka, we didn't know anything about the competition. We didn't know about the opposition we are going to face. We didn't know what to expect. So it was a surprise to us to go and come back with a trophy.
It was a surprise. Hold that thought, because we'll be getting into it. You went, you were shooting in the dark. You went for the unknown, but you came back with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge on futsal. The next to introduce is a man who turned out for Posta Rangers, Mathare United, Tusker, the national soccer team, Harambee Stars under-23, Harambee Stars soccer team, senior team. We are talking about Joseph Mbugi with us in studio. Joseph, vipi? Yani uliamua tu as in football, mainstream, ikae kando futsal, and here you are, going out na pantambua, despite being invited as a guest.
First, thank you, Alpha, for inviting us. As the coach has said, we went there as a guest team, but vile tulifika kama ile moto ya Wakenya ya pantambua. So we went there, tulienda, ilikuwa tu ni game tujaicheza in Kenya, but tulikuwa tumeprepare almost for around 2 weeks. But kufika huko, kakuwa ndio hivyo, lazima kikombe rudi mtaani.
Kikombe rudi mtaani.
Lazima.
And interestingly indeed, which I'll engage James, to let us know by the end of the day, that in everything that you do, we always focus on the top, but we forget about the foundation, which means we don't look at the continuity of the same. Joseph Mbugi, you've been there for long, but it looks like you are already setting a base for the future. Hence the reason why 18-year-old Wayne Moya, has been drafted into the team. And Wayne, yes, from what I'm told, when you went out there, you were just a darling of many, with the pace, the speed, and everything. First and foremost, welcome back and welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Wayne Moya, one of the youngsters in this futsal team, went out there, also saw and conquered. Welcome back, gentlemen, into the country. I know you've stayed here for some days, but nonetheless, it's good to welcome you. James,
Yes.
How did it all start?
You remember 3 years ago when
we were with you
we were with you here
discussing futsal.
I went to Seychelles in 2016. You remember I played for some seasons in Seychelles.
Correct.
And they called me for me to attend a coaching course. So basically they gave me the foundation. I did the grassroots football, I did the elite youth, and I did the senior. So at the grassroots, that is where futsal is. Futsal goes in tandem with the beach soccer. And you'll find that we neglected futsal. That's why you remember I've been pushing for us to play futsal. And if you look at South America, for example, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, they grow playing futsal. Futsal was being played by plantation workers as a form of entertainment. So when it really started in 1930, they took it seriously. And it has really helped them. They have very good technique from when they are young. They can play under pressure no matter the situation. They are not, they don't have any fear. But here, you'd find somebody plays football when he's given the platform at the national team level, stage fright, maybe he cannot even control a football. You go to Cairo, 60,000 guys are screaming, you cannot even control a ball. But these guys, they play constantly, they play futsal, they play in tandem, futsal and football. When they go to these crowds, your technique is right, your first touch is superb, you have good passes, you can dribble, you can keep your ball. Why do you fear? You don't fear anything. Yeah, that's why you see we are pushing. Yeah, we have not done it the way it's supposed to be done, but we had to start from somewhere. So we are lucky. We had this platform, we took these young boys. You remember when we were here 3 years ago, we talked about the Youth Olympics in Senegal, 2025. It's around the corner. It's next year. It's next year. That's why that's why we took guys like Wayne to go get that experience. So when they go out there, they can stand a chance of winning a medal at the Olympic level. What would that do to a young man like him? Yeah, so I think it is good for Kenya.
Very good for Kenya indeed, because it's a way of marketing the country, and also it's a way of announcing your presence to the entire world. Joseph, yes. When you're leaving the country, yes, you are invited as guests. Did you have any minds that, guys, we can go out there and win, or you wanted to go out there and just get the exposure, get the experience, and get to understand how futsal is played internationally? Because this was the first ever international tournament that Kenya has played in from a futsal point.
Okay, at first when we were invited, because it's the first event that Kenya has ever participated. So we are not familiar with that game. We have not even played, we trained only for almost 2 weeks. So we were a bit, I can say, mixed emotion, nervous, because we don't know what we're going to expect there. So, but when we reached there, I think the coach, a night before the tournament, we had a team talk. A night before, the coach told us what to expect, what to do. I think by showing just us some videos. I think from what we saw, we went there at the field and implemented, and That's how we...
The rest is history.
The rest is history. After winning the first match, and that first match, it was like our training. You can see it was our training
Warm-up.
session, a warm-up. So from there, coach told us the good things that we did and the mistakes that we did, and then from there, it was a smooth ride up to the final.
Iteremke.
Teremke.
Wayne,
Yes.
as a young star in the team and, you know, very energetic, a lot is expected. You're going in, you have senior players like Joseph in the team. How was it like for you going, you know, being part of the team that's going for the first international assignment? You've been drafted into the team. What was your expectation? To go out there and learn, or to go there and announce yourself?
For me, what I can say, it was a good experience, and I thank my coach for giving me that opportunity. For me, what I wanted to get my first medal, so I went with the mentality of a champion. So we psyched ourselves as players, and we started all in our minds, telling ourselves that we can do it. So when we played our first game, we scored so many goals, and we frustrated the teams, such that the teams started fearing us. So from there, we psyched ourselves as a team, and we moved on very well with our tactician master coach, who actually, after every game, analyzed our performance as we talked, and we discovered our difficulties, and fortunately for us, we went through and got to the finals, and we won.
When I look at, you know, the performance coach, I look at the goals scored versus against ratio. Very clear that you conceded 1, say 4, 5, only 8 goals, and scored like about, you know, 16, 23, scored like about what, 31 goals against 8, only. A very good record. When you went in for the first match, what was the message, you know, to the team? Do you go offensive? Do you possess? Do you use your stamina? What was the message to the team?
Ampha, the first match, we went there to contain. We didn't know what to expect. No. But we had a strategy. That after, because futsal is played for 20 minutes, one half. When
yes.
the ball goes out, the watch is stopped. When the ball comes back, it resumes. So we said we have a very short time. We don't need to concede so many goals. After 3 minutes, they scored one. They scored a goal. So
you were down.
So I said, hey, these guys, we might get a beating here. So guys, let's be tight, because futsal also has tactics for defending. You can defend for like a diamond. You can always
change formation.
Yeah, you can always change
based on the situations.
So we noticed they were a bit slow. So we decided, hey, Wayne, you guys press this guy's top there. And we were lucky. When we pressed them, they didn't have the confidence. We won back the ball and scored. So we worked on transition. And that is how we won that game.
Wow.
And the confidence came. Yeah. Futsal, it's all about quick thinking. It's all about transition. What do you do when you have the ball? What do you do when you don't have it? If you sleep on one of them, you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead. The field is smaller, say 40 by 20, and you know the intensity is so high. That is why they allow for rolling substitutions. And apart from being a sport, it is also therapeutic. It can be played with anybody. Maybe an obese guy or somebody. Even here, you can just clear space
and
have
a referee and goalposts, and we're on.
And you're on. So futsal is really very important.
How was it like for you when you first and foremost you equalized?
Yes.
At that moment, the boys must have gotten the belief, and you must have also now told them, guys, now game on. like the show.
Yeah, when it worked, we won the ball back, and quickly it was played. Wayne is the guy who scored the first goal for us. So when we won the ball back, Mike gave him the pass, and he scored. So the confidence came. Now we decided to do it more, give them more pressure. And that is how, honestly, that is how we won that first game. And then we developed the confidence now to play it. Now we don't rush. Let them come, because they have to come and press. And we realized we are more quicker. So it's pa, 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 and we go.
That was game 1. Game 2, they beat Bangladesh by 8-3. Game 3, they played Pakistan 7-1, then qualified for the finals where they beat India 8-3. So many things happen when you travel. Of course, James, you must have traveled, with your former teams, national team and stuff. But this particular one, going to Colombo or Sri Lanka, you're leaving a country when it's too cold, even raining. Then you go to another extreme. How did you guys adjust?
At first, when we, as the coach has said, I think that's the reason why we were scored.
Hamjatulia.
Hatujatulia hata kidogo. The heat was extreme, and so game iko na intensity ya juu sana, because it's all you go to score, then you have to defend at the same time. So hiyo weather huko ilikuwa tricky sana, and also the football that we were using, not the normal ball like this one. It's not a bouncy ball.
Wow.
It only bounce up to this level.
Done.
And the weight also is heavy. So challenges zenye tuli face at first, hizo ndo vitu zilitupiga reality. So I was the captain of the team, so I had to talk with my fellow teammates that jamaa, tumekuja kucheza, hii ndio ball iko hapa, so let's adjust. And from there tuka recover hiyo bao na tukaongezea na
zikateremka tu. Wayne, yes. How was it like scoring that first goal that you desperately needed as a team?
I was overjoyed, but I didn't want to show. So we recovered, and then the restart, and then we continued, we push and we scored more goals.
Okay, before I get back to James, let me ask you, Joseph, how was it like now when you went back to the dressing room after winning game 1? Mukasema jamaa, kumbe kitu inawezekana. How was it like? Did it psych and charge you guys for the next game against Bangladesh?
Of course, it psyched us to charge for the next match, but still bado we went to the second match as underdogs, because those teams from Asia, I think they play the futsal more, even I think more than the
cricket.
The cricket, wow. Yeah. Because ukiangalia, they have the pitch for futsal, which I don't think there is anyone kama hiyo kwa Kenya. Because the pitch is somehow, it's hard. It's not like the tough hizi zenye tumezoea. Ni kama more so like a basketball court, but hiyo iko somehow plastic chini. So going to the second match, bado tulienda kama the underdogs, but tulikuwa at least na sasa some ideas, some game plan sasa iko at least. So hiyo ndio ilitu charge up na tukaenda tukichukua hizo point pia za game ya pili.
Wow. And coach James, looking at that second game against Bangladesh, it must have been a strong team, because it's the only team and India in the finals that you conceded more than 2 goals, because you won 8-3.
That second game was tough. It was very tough. I don't know how we did it, honestly. The planning was right. The players did a lot of stuff. We had to change that team in the 40 minutes, 20 first half and 20 second half. We had to rechange, because the energy levels they used was too much. These guys were superb, good first touch, good on one-on-ones. My friend, the passing. There was a time they hit the ball tap tap tap, we were like strangers. Unakumbuka bao walitufunga? Tap 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 mpaka ndani. Unaona? So it was a tough match, honestly. It was a tough match in the last game, in the final. It was a very tough match. But we reorganized ourselves. We believed in our abilities. We could press them high and recover the ball back and ensure once we have that space, we score. So we scored more than them. And
so you just went in and said, just like in a game of football,
yeah.
Those moments that you're up there, you must score.
You must score. Otherwise, if you don't, my man,
you're punished.
You're punished. Wow. And they're good. My friend, even the switch plays, no, they were super.
The transitions,
yeah.
everything. Would you attribute the wins to maybe our, our physical presence, our gas levels? Because Kenyans are naturally known to be sprinters and athletes.
Yeah, I think that was what pulled us through. Because physically we are good. We are good. Technically we might not be at that big level. But you look at the players we had. Some like Captain here, he's a very good technician. Wayne here is a very good technician. A lot of these boys are good technicians. When we were doing the warm-up, there's a boy, I told him, hey, this guy, I don't have that confidence in him. But he turned out to be the best player.
Oh, really?
That boy played, playing. Good first touch, good drive, good shots left and right. My friend, Mike surprised me. He gave him the assist for the first goal. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, the boys scored a lot of goals, both left and right. Yeah, so you find sometimes I learned something. You don't judge somebody. You can do a very wrong decision. Because if I was not flexible, he would have not started that game. Correct. From the warm-up, because there was some drill I gave them. So you would see he was not that very good in technique, sluggish. But when the real deal came,
he turned up.
He's a monster, my man. He's a monster. Yeah.
A monster, he is, and the team in general.
Yeah, and from his performance, you see, Captain here was controlling the tempo. He's there working. Wayne is running off the ball. When we have it, he's creating space for himself to get a shooting chance. The team was working. The team was working. So even the guys on the bench, they were just eager to come in and also play a part. Yeah.
And as we look at this, James, what does this now mean? Because it looks like now, officially, it's your first ever international assignment. You've now announced yourself, and everybody will be like, hang on, there is a country called Kenya. We need to invite them more. What does this now mean? Because it looks like many international, invites could be coming your way.
We need to up this. We need to have a league. We need to get the age groups going. You see, like now we have an invitation to go to Brazil for the C13. AMF, they don't have the unders. They call them the C, the category 13, category 15. But in FIFA, you find they have the under 13, under 15. So imagine we've been invited to go and play in the C13 in Brazil. So imagine, these guys from under 13, they are playing the World Cup. From under 13, they are playing the World Cup. Tell me, when he's 20, what kind of futsal can he play? Okay? So we are lucky. We are lucky to get these opportunities. After winning the tournament in Asia, it has opened up another opportunity for us to take the C13 in Brazil.
Wow. James, how is it like, when you hear an invitation in Brazil? I've been to Brazil personally, and in Brazil, football is like a religion. to go out there and play some of the best, like he mentioned earlier on, you know, you see how they play football. Every say a kilometer or so, you will see kids playing football along the streets or something like that. The Ronaldinhos of this world came from the same. How is it motivating you when you hear that Brazil is the next invitation that we've received?
I think it's a good opportunity first for Kenya as a football, because for Kenya to be invited category 13 to go and play the futsal tournament, and you can see the likes of Ronaldinho came from the same futsal way. The Yamal, those players who are technically good, most of them passed through futsal. So for Kenya to be invited at C13 at that tender age, for a player to go and play in Brazil, I think it's something that I'm quite sure it's going to change the way football is going to be seen in Kenya, also futsal, because I think futsal and the normal game that is football, they have to go hand in hand, because it will help in terms of technical abilities of a player and a lot of things in terms of football. Yeah.
I mean, great opportunity indeed, Wayne.
Yes.
What are your targets as Wayne? Age is still on your side. You have great players like Mike. You have great players like Joseph here. You have great players like James who've been there. What are your targets and objectives as Wayne? Because age is still on your side.
My target first is to play for the national, to continue playing for the national team, and to get as many call-ups so that I can play in under 20. This also in my side, in this futsal world, I want to continue venturing into it so that I can play in international stages, so that I can get a chance to expose my talent.
And as you talk about exposure, you went out in Sri Lanka. Do you think you learned a lot? Because we are looking at youth games next year in Senegal. Do you think you learned a lot? And if you make the Brazil squad, do you think this will be very good exposures en route to or build up to the youth games?
Yes, I learned a lot from both the opponent players and both from my players who are above my age. They taught me very many things, like communication skills and the technical ability of a players, like the scanning, sight, and getting the small things that needs a player to mature up as he continue venturing into football.
Wow. You have a very young team, very young minds like, Wayne here, Coach James. James, what are the key ingredients of success in futsal? When you have a team, is it shooting? Is it transition? Is it speed? Is it the ability to be able to transform, or the ability to be able to quickly adapt into the different scenarios your opponent is playing? Adaptability,
very key. Adaptability. If you don't adapt, you are dead. Futsal takes a very short time to think. That's why you ought to think quicker. You ought to think quicker. You have to make your decisions early. So if you don't adapt, you will not move. You will not move, and you will not make any impact. Okay, and there's something unique about futsal. The technique. You realize, look at Yamal. How does he receive the ball? Even under pressure, with the sole of his feet. Correct. That is a futsal technique for controlling or even dribbling. Recently, Chelsea scored the second goal when they were playing the Conference League final. Mm-hmm. You remember this England guy, he dragged the ball, then hit across with his right leg. That is a futsal technique.
Palmer.
Mm-hmm. That is a futsal technique. So if you look at this, look at Due, PSG.
For PSG.
How does he control his ball? How does he? Sometimes like he's dribbling with the sole of his feet. That is a futsal technique, and it is a very difficult technique to defend. Once you control the ball like this, it is difficult to get the ball because you have your body between you and the opponent. So it is very difficult to get that reach. But if you control it the way we do it here, the ball comes, I control it with the insole. You see, when I control it with the insole, the opponent is already here. He can just hit my leg, the ball goes, and they win the possession. But if you use the sole of your feet,
you're in control.
The distance is far. So he cannot reach. So the futsal technique, when developed over a period of time, it helps in the mainstream football. That's why you see Lamal is so comfortable, too much time. You give him time, he kills you. He is used to playing in small spaces.
Correct.
He's been playing with that futsal ball. The futsal ball is slightly smaller, it's heavier, low bounce. It doesn't bounce. No. So with that heaviness, when you practice hitting that ball, getting the technique right of hitting that ball, when you get this other ball, it's like pepper. It goes like a bullet. So imagine if we can give young men like Wayne, if we can give Kina Wayne the opportunity to continuously train with this ball, strike it, play these games, why won't he play in that stage at 20 years? He's 18. He'll play. Yeah.
And James, just to take you on the same, now that it's so clear that futsal, futsal can be a very good foundation into getting into mainstream football. Is there a possibility that we can see the likes of Kenya secondary schools, coming on board so that it becomes, the vibrant talking point when it comes to, to high school or junior football? And another key thing would be the possibility of us having the equipment, which is the grounds, the right football, for the same critical aspects that will need all and major stakeholders to come in.
Yeah, the Kenya Futsal Federation is really working on a plan to engage the secondary schools and the schools, even the primary schools. Yeah, so that we can start nurturing these boys and girls from school, from primary level. Because you'll get 12-year-olds, in primary, and after 12 years, when they come to 13, now they become youths. So from youth level, you get them in secondary schools, in high schools, and it is good to have this partnership so that futsal can be developed all through, from primary, secondary, colleges, everywhere, all levels, okay? So that we can tap in on the real talent. There are guys who cannot play mainstream.
Correct.
There are guys who cannot play mainstream, but they can play futsal. After all, it's roll in, roll out. They are very skillful, but the rigors of 11-a-side is too much for them. So we give them that platform. We give them that opportunity to go represent Kenya. We have the Youth Olympics coming, we have national teams playing, so they can also represent the country and feel proud of representing their country. Yeah.
We can do it if we all pull together, all stakeholders, because this is that moment that we come together. If they are invited as guests and they come back victorious like this, now they've landed another invitation to Brazil. Wishing them all the best, and the sky is never the limit. Sky can only be the stepping stone to greater heights for them. As we start winding up this, Wayne,
yes,
where do we see you in the next, say, 5-10 years to come from a futsal point of view? If what James is talking about is anything to go by, and if it's well groomed and a lot of focus is put in futsal, do you see yourself as maybe a shining star in football?
Yes, for me, I want to play in European leagues. So as a futsal player, it's just a stepping stone to improve my technical abilities so that when I grow up and go into bigger stages, I will not have stage fright, or I'll have setbacks. So I want this futsal to be like a motivation to me to step up into bigger stages.
Step up into bigger stages, it can happen. James, not James, Joseph, where do you see futsal, Kenyan futsal, in the next few years if we continue with this kind of progression?
I think Kenya futsal will be the big thing in Kenya, and it will help the Kenyan football a lot if it is put into consideration, and the stakeholders can come and also try and put more in the futsal, because futsal doesn't have an age of maybe you are retired, or even the...
James can still play.
Exactly. Even if you go to maybe to YouTube, you can see the Ronaldinho still playing futsal back in Brazil.
Correct.
So I can urge the stakeholders and to help the futsal grow in Kenya, and I can assure you it is going to help the Kenyan football a lot in terms of technical abilities of the players.
There you have it. It's a correct base and foundation for football, and it can become a religion. In less than a minute and a half, James, let's wind up. I am already starting to believe that if we groom and get hold of futsal well, then it can grow, because this is how Rugby 7 started, and all of a sudden focused, we shifted our focus into sevens, and sevens has put Kenyan rugby into the map. Futsal can put Kenyan football into the map.
Amfa, it is the real deal, honestly. Sponsors should come in, come and partner, so that we spread the gospel of futsal in Kenya. For starters, we have the 3rd edition of the Big James Connect Futsal Tournament at Nyayo Handball Court on the 14th. The kids will play from C9 to C17. Then on Sunday, we have the open age, both male and female. So for starters, we need partners to come, invest, and see the goodness of futsal. Yeah. So guys, come. We support futsal. The Kenya Futsal Federation is also here to help us. They've already given us support. They'll be there at Nyayo to support us. They helped us go to Sri Lanka. We won the first ever Futsal Cup.
When is the tournament?
Next weekends, June 14th.
Oh, June 14th.
And 15th, yeah.
All right, we will be there as well. I will be there, and I'll try, playing futsal. Beat Joseph here and Wayne. I'll try beat Wayne on speed.
You're
I'll
welcome.
try my best.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, James. We deeply appreciate you making time to be with us. Yeah. We are honored, Joseph, Wayne, and congratulations for putting Kenya in the map, and congratulations for putting Kenya to where it's all. Wishing you all the best with the same.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of the program for the day. We want to say thank you very much, and we want to say we are proud of this team that went out to do duty for Kenya as guests, but they came back victorious. A pan-tambua mentality of Kenyans, where you give them an inch, they take a mile. On behalf of everyone who's been behind this transmission, the transmission controller, the director, the producer, the cameraman, the camera ladies, the sound technicians, we want to say thank you very much for having, kept us company. On behalf of Wayne, on behalf of Joseph and James, we want to say thank you very much for having kept us company. We are glad you're watching. As I always say, kuonana kesho ni majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu. Bye-bye for now, and keep it KBC, Channel 1, your true sports partner.